Hello, and here we are again on our podcast that is designed to invite you on our journey as we learn about how to use AI to empower our lives and to make us more efficient and to save us some time. And it is it is constant learning because everything is changing
Fast.
really fast.
Mhm.
So, what we wanted to talk about today was moving from being busy to being productive. And so that means some very specific things to me and maybe some different things to you. But to me, busyness is reactivity. It is very easy to spend our days just reacting to all the stuff that comes at us. And then it's even worse because we get in this cycle of just checking. Check your email, check your voicemail, check your text messages, check your chat, check your social media. And by the time you've checked and dealt with all that, it's time to start over. Check your email, check your chat, check your text, right? And you could just go through that cycle all day, which keeps you busy. And it's not like it's not work because a lot of that stuff, if not all of that stuff, depending on your job role, is work that you have to do and stuff that you have to respond to. But being reactive all day means that you can't be proactive. And if you can't be proactive, then you aren't accomplishing the things that are on your list that are important to you to move the needle, the things that you have decided that you want to get done. And so the easy way that I usually talk about this is being reactive is how we end up at the end of the day saying to ourselves, oh my gosh, I was busy all day and somehow I got nothing done. Instead of saying, wow, that was such a good day, I got so much done. In the first case, you are more likely to have spent the whole day being reactive. And in the second case, you are more likely to have spent a good part of the day being proactive and working from your task list. And so AI is not the way to move from being reactive to being proactive or from being busy to being productive. We think empowered productivity behaviors, the empowered productivity system is the way to move from being busy to being productive. But there are ways that AI can support you in implementing empowered productivity behaviors. Do you have anything to add
Yeah,
about that?
absolutely. So, what you're talking about, I think of as being strategic versus scattered.
Yes.
So you're either strategically making progress toward the things that are important to you, or you're making progress toward a wide range of things that really don't necessarily lead to the achievement of your goals or your significant results.
Mhm.
So we want to help people achieve their significant results. We want to help people be strategic. We recognize that people have a finite amount of resources, whether that's time, energy, interest, experience, knowledge, the wide range of resources that everybody brings to the table every day to help them achieve their significant results and those of their organization as well. And so we want to help people make the best use of those resources. We want to help them be more strategic. And that's what empowered productivity is designed to do. It's designed to help people make the best use of those finite resources so that they don't end up being burned out, working 80 hours a week, being exhausted and not being able to contribute those great, awesome skills and abilities and interests and talents they bring to the table to their families and their communities, the things that are outside of their workspace.
Yes. Having something left over
Right.
to give the rest of your life that
Right.
isn't work.
And people care about that. But the problem is that it's incredibly difficult for some reason to be productive and incredibly easy, on the other hand, to be busy. And actually, it may not even be that it's incredibly difficult to be productive. It's just that it's a lot easier to be busy.
Yeah. And the the principles, especially the principles of action management, are the things that make it easier to be productive because action management, a lot of people just end up being reactive because they don't really have a good handle on all the stuff
Sure.
they need to do. So
Part of it.
So the action management or the success GPS module of empowered productivity um, is what helps people manage their task list and their projects. But And that's covered in, it's covered in the online Empowered Productivity Training, and it's also covered in From To Do to Done, my book, and certainly
Personal productivity secret.
in Personal Productivity Secrets. That's a throwback. Yeah, for sure. But really what we want to talk, what we're focusing on today is how to take the principles of empowered productivity and use AI to help implement them. So we have a few ideas.
Sure. We have some ideas.
All right.
Like I said, we're learning, like you said, we're learning AI as we're going as well. So our question is, how does AI help us most effectively implement the empowered productivity system so that we can be strategic, we can make the best use of our resources?
Yeah.
How does AI help?
Well, so there are goals and there are projects. And in the empowered productivity system, we define a project as something that has a finite beginning and end, a definable beginning and end.
Which are not the same day.
Not the same day, right? It happens in multiple steps over multiple time periods. So it's something that you'll work on for a little bit and then you'll put it aside and some time will go by and maybe other people will do some pieces and then you'll work on it some more. And this goes on for days or weeks or months. But a project is different than like a category of your work. So if you are in sales, let's say, but you also have administration that you have to do, like expense reports and reporting and funnels and like all that kind of stuff. You have the sales part of your job and you have the administration part of your job. Those are not projects.
Right. So my bookkeeping is not a project.
That's right. It's something that you do. It's a category of your work. It's a type of work you do, but it's not a project. But in the bookkeeping example, reconcile all the bank statements for the month. That could be a project, right? Sure. Because you know when you start and you're clear about when it will be done. So one of the things that you could use AI to do is to take an outcome and use AI as a strategic thinking partner to get from the outcome or the goal to the specific project.
So this is for projects maybe that you've not done a million times before, because if you've done a project a lot, you know exactly what the steps are.
Yes, but it could be a way to come up with like new ideas. So let's just say that you are in sales or you are the head of sales and you are tasked with increasing sales or increasing sales of a certain
You're given a goal.
Product line.
New goal.
You're given a goal. Exactly.
Good.
So nobody cares really exactly how you achieve that goal. It's kind of up to you.
You just have to achieve it.
You just have to achieve it. So you could open up, especially like a chat-based version where you can have a verbal conversation with an AI. So right now you can do that in ChatGPT. And there are probably others. So there's like a voice option in ChatGPT where you can talk to it and it talks back.
Instead of typing.
I mean, typing is fine too. And sometimes the voice is super annoying because when you pause to gather your thoughts, it jumps in. But you could.
Well, I mean, people think differently. You know, if I'm typing, that's slower than when I'm thinking. It's a lot faster for me to speak than to type. So from that standpoint, it's much easier from a brainstorming standpoint, it's easier to interact with an AI if I'm speaking rather than typing.
Yes. So it really depends. But also, I think when we say things out loud, it helps to clarify things for us. It helps to think through. And so, for example, you could open AI, ChatGPT, and you could hit the talk button that looks like the little, I don't even know, it looks like a bunch of lines. Yeah, like a little microphone kind of thing. And you could say, I work for this kind of company, or hopefully you've already customized your ChatGPT account if you have one. Just say like who you are, what you do, and who you serve, and all that kind of stuff. But if you haven't, you could say, we're this company, we do this, we have this product line, and I have been tasked with increasing sales. So what do you think are some ways that I could increase sales for our organization?
Yeah.
And just start with an open-ended question like that, and then just have
Probe.
and probe. But you also want to tell it that, tell it what hat to wear. Like, you are a sales expert,
Sure.
right? So you're telling ChatGPT, act like a chief revenue officer, and let's talk about how I could increase sales of this organization. So then it will throw out some ideas, and then you can play off that. Well,
And the more specific you are, the better it will be. So,
Yes.
a shoe salesman's probably very different than a lumber salesman.
yes,
So there are
Yes.
different levels, different kinds of expertise. So you want to tell it the industry as well. The more
Yes.
detail you give, the better the response is going to be.
absolutely. And so then it's going to come up with probably a whole bunch of stupid things, but maybe a few good things also. So that you could say, well, the first two things you said, I'm not sure what you meant by that, or this one won't work because, but say more about that one. What's an example of that? And what are some ways, right? So you can just sort of literally have an open-ended conversation and brainstorm to take the goal, and AI can help you move it to a project.
Got it. Okay. So you're transforming a goal into a project, which you're then going to put into your task list if you're using the Empowered Productivity System.
Yes. So now you have in Empowered Productivity, we have a list of projects, because your project list helps you see the forest for the trees.
Sure.
Your project list helps you, it's like the beacon in all the little minutia, like, where am I really headed?
What am I
So,
trying to achieve? Yeah.
so then you have a
Right.
project, and you've had AI help you really narrow down, like, remember, a project has to have a definable beginning and end. So you have to know, what will it look like when this project is done?
Mhm.
What will be true for us to be able to say, done, project done,
Mhm.
right? Now, whether or not you get the results you want is a whole nother story, but when will you be able to say, okay, this project is done, and either now it's morphed into a different project because we did get the results or we didn't get the results? And it's iterative, right? It's never static. Our lives are not static. It's always iterative, and things change and you adapt, and then maybe it's a different project, or maybe the goalpost has moved or something.
Right. But that's again why you use the Empowered Productivity System, because you're more able to adapt to the demanded changes, the requests that require you to not do this, but do this.
Yes. And you can keep track of all of that,
Yeah.
all
Right
in
on top of it.
all of those details.
Mhm.
So first, we've used AI as a strategic thinking partner to take us from goal to one or more projects.
Mhm.
Well, now you have a project to implement. So now you can use AI again, or continue with this conversation. Okay, now that we've honed in on this project, we know what the outcome of the project is. We know what it will look like when this project is done. Now, what are all the steps involved in this project? And then that's going to be an iterative conversation as well, because it's probably going to start with like very general steps. So let's say, back to the sales example, how do we increase sales? And so one of the ideas maybe that it gives you is to do a sort of an outreach program to past clients.
Mhm.
Okay, so what kind of outreach? Is it email? Is it a video series? Is it a podcast? Is it some sort of funnel? Is it a phone campaign, right? What is it? Um, and then what specifically are the steps involved? Because then you'll have things like, well, you have to write a script, and you have to, get other marketing involved to make graphics for you, and you have whatever, right? And so then you can have AI help you get very detailed, like, what are all the steps? What if I involve, I talked to a project and said, what if we involved Cassidy on the team? What kind of instructions would we give her? And how long would we expect it to take her? And what tools would she need to do it? And so it got super detailed, and I ended up with like a 30-page project plan for this thing. So that's another way that
Okay.
AI can help you. And then you take those tasks and you manage those tasks using Empowered Productivity. So you've got
Okay.
Next action.
So somebody's given you a goal. You talk to AI to develop one or more. You could have more than one project that you create to achieve that goal. And every project has a defined beginning and an end date. So you're recording an end date in your system for that project.
I mean, yes, the date is probably, there's two things. There's an end and there's an end date. And those are different,
sure.
right?
Right. The end is the deliverable. What is it? What is the result of this project? What is the deliverable? Maybe it's an email. Maybe it's a document, a widget, whatever. Just some kind of deliverable is the result of the project, something we're going to hand off to other people.
Or maybe you'll hand it off to other people. But the point is, you'll be able to say, all right, this project, it's done.
And you can show that to people. So you've got demonstrable evidence that project is completed.
Yes. Sure.
Okay. So that's your end. That's your proof that this project has been completed.
Yes, but you're also right that you do want to at least project an end goal that will probably change, but it's useful to say like what's our target completion date for this?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You have to have something documented. Otherwise nobody knows what to expect. You've got to give people some expectations and expect, that there's going to be a need for flexibility and leeway, but still you've defined something.
But even if
you're going to try to make it.
Yes. But even if nobody else is involved, if you don't put a deadline of it for yourself, then it just languishes.
Really?
Right?
Why?
Well, because all the other priorities, right? This comes down to the Eisenhower matrix, which I'm not so the Eisenhower matrix is like urgent versus important, which in theory, this is what it's useful for. Like you have things in your life that are urgent but not important, and you have things that are urgent and important, and you have things that are important but not urgent, right? So the 4 quadrants in the Eisenhower matrix, without due dates, you end up spending all the time on the urgent, not important, or urgent and important, and urgent, not important, and you don't get to the important but not urgent.
Okay. So you need to assign a due date. In other words, in order to make it important, to add importance to it.
Yes, and to plan your work around. To incorporate it into your work, to make sure that you're taking steps to move that forward frequently on a regular basis.
Okay. So that's an interesting kind of concept. The idea that you need to add some importance to this project in order to get yourself to complete it. And one of the ways that you do that is by adding a due date, which then if you miss it would affect other things that you want to do.
Yes. And AI can help you there too, because you can say, so there will be 3 people involved in this project. How long would you expect it to take if we have, 5 other projects on our plate? Or you could just say like, how long would you expect this to take with 3 people working on it part-time? And then you can just sort of take some liberties with that without having to give the AI too many details about everything you have going on.
Right. Yeah. And that helps me having somebody else involved. I'm much more likely to hit my deadlines if there are other people involved, because I don't want to affect them detrimentally. I don't want them to have to miss their deadlines as well.
Yes. Which is a technique for overcoming procrastination.
Okay. So you've got the goal, you've got a project, and now you're going to take the project and break it down into a set of concrete steps, having a discussion with AI about what those concrete steps might be. And then you take those concrete steps and you put them into your task list, and you also make assignments to other people, because no one achieves anything alone. Most of the time we're working with other people. And so part of the work will be completed by other people as well as us.
Yes. So some of your tasks could be to delegate things to others.
Or ask to review.
Yes.
Ask people to do things for you. Yeah. To make it better.
Yes. And so all the empowered productivity categories, you'll have tasks in many of them, very likely. The next actions and the waiting fors and
exactly
those kind of things.
That's where I was going. So you're gonna have tasks, you'll have waiting fors, and you'll have next actions. But you can also ask it to help you communicate these things, to write them in such a way that it's easy for people to do them. So just as you want your tasks to be clear and complete and action oriented, You want your assignments, the assignments that you give to be clear so that people aren't coming to you like they're going to the Home Depot 10 times.
Right.
You don't want them coming back and coming back and coming back with more questions. You want them to have everything they need from the beginning.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And all of this AI can help us with
Yes.
just through the conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And there is one more, I think, really useful way that AI can help. So, and that is the attention management module of Empowered Productivity, which is all about, this comes from my little green book called Attention Management, How to Create Success and Gain Productivity Every Day. And that is about managing distractions and regaining control over your attention. Because if you are distracted all day long, then that's what leads you to being reactive and not proactive. And that's what leads you to being busy, but not productive. And so some of the principles of, or the behaviors in the attention management piece involve controlling your technology and controlling your environment, so that other people aren't interrupting you all the time. And this is a challenge for people because they think, well, other people need me and I have to be helpful. And, my boss will get upset if I don't answer his or her emails right away and all that kind of stuff. And so, but the thing is, each person has to create the line for themselves between being part of everybody's job is reacting to other people. And part of everybody's job is work that you have to do, right? And so there is a line. You have to do both.
You have to check your email and do productive work.
And yes, do productive work. And so what happens is people think, well, everybody needs me all day. And so the only time I can get my work done is when nobody's bothering me. The problem is when nobody's bothering you is like 11 o'clock at night or 4 a.m. or weekends, times when ideally you wouldn't be working. And so that's not okay. It's not okay to constantly leave your real work, right? Your proactive work to when nobody's bothering you. You have to arrange your day so that you can be both proactive and reactive throughout your work day.
But you're in control. You choose.
You choose, but yes, you choose, but you have to create this line because no one will create it for you, right? Nobody's going to be like, oh, let's make sure everybody leaves you alone so that you can get work done, right? No, nobody's going to do that for you. So people say to me, like, how do I have this conversation with my boss that like, I'm going to close out my email for 30 minutes every hour
so you're not going to be available.
So you're not going to be available. Or, I try to close my door so that I can get work done, but my boss is the worst offender and just walks through it all the time. Or my boss is always emailing me at 10 o'clock at night. And, and so when faced with this, a lot of people just they try it. Well, I tried closing my door, but my boss doesn't pay attention to it. So I guess that doesn't work. Well, hang on. If you didn't, try it didn't work, try again. Try it harder. Try it in a different way, right? Yeah. So I learned this from, I guess it was from Tony Robbins in my 20s. Ask for what you want 100% of the time. If you don't get what you want, adjust your approach and ask again. So in this case, asking people to leave you alone might be, I'm going to close my door. And so you try closing your door, but people walk through it anyway. Hey, what do you have a minute? So adjust your approach and ask in a different way.
So you got to come up with ideas.
Yeah. So, you have to come up with ideas. And also you might have to actually tell people, look, if my door is closed, when my door is closed, it means this or that, or, I can't be checking my email as it arrives all the time. So I will get back to you, but it will probably be immediately. And so here's where AI comes in. A lot of people ask me about language to talk to their boss or talk to their coworkers about these new behaviors. So they hear me speak, or they attend a training, or they read attention management, and then they say, how do I get my boss to like understand what I'm doing?
Mhm.
So here's where AI comes in. You can role play. You can use AI to role play a conversation or draft an email. But I like the conversation better than drafting an email, because you'll get real-time response, and you can um with your boss, and you can sort of have a conversation about, this is how I need to get my work done, and what do you think about this? So I think rather than asking AI to help you draft an email or a message to your boss, role play a conversation.
Mhm.
Tell AI as much as you can about your boss and about your boss's personality and about what you're trying to achieve, and then ask it to be the part of your boss and role play a conversation,
Wow.
so that you can be prepared for objections, and what about this, and what if that
Yeah.
comes up, and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So then you'll be really prepared, and you'll have language, right? So how can I say this diplomatically, and how can I convince them that this is important, and all of those kinds of things.
How can I remind them
Yeah.
without being incredibly annoying?
Yes. What kind of language can I use when they forget, or when they, when they sometimes people get a little passive aggressive, right? I mean, I tried to get you earlier, but your door was closed.
Mhm.
That's a little passive aggressive. But those kind of things happen to us during our work day. So how do we deal with it?
Mhm.
I think AI can be a really great partner to help you work through some of that.
Yeah, and AI, in my experience, tends to be fairly knowledgeable about human behavior, and that's what we're talking. We're talking about your boss's or somebody else's behavior. How do you manage another person's behavior? AI knows the ways that you can manage people's behavior, so it understands that they do need to remember. You do need to remind people that these things are important. It also understands that people need a reason to do anything, so you need to help them understand why it's important to them that you spend this time focusing and not being distracted. AI understands the science of behavior management and can help you brainstorm ways to do this.
Yes, which is super helpful, especially for it's a journey for me to be more diplomatic. I tend to be very direct, which some people appreciate and some people find a little rude. So it can also help AI to tell them your communication style and the things that you would like to work on
Mhm.
as you are, because here's the thing about communication that I think is so fascinating that a lot of people don't realize. A lot of how we communicate is a result of our habits.
Mhm.
And so, especially with people in your life. So, the example I always use is, if there's somebody in your life that like pushes your button, like every time you talk to some person, you do the same dance over and over, or every time you talk to some person about a thing, I try to explain this, and then they always say that, and then we always get into the same like
Mhm.
problem. Those are habits.
Yeah.
And so you can use AI to help disrupt those habits.
Behavior.
Yes, next time this happens, here are some ways to kind of diffuse the situation and make it be a more productive conversation.
Sure. Enhances collaboration.
Yeah.
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 So all of this is a way to help people shift from being reactive, busy, to being more productive, to being goal oriented, to turning goals into tasks, and then also being better at taking action on those tasks rather than being distracted by people walking into your office or picking up the phone and calling you or whatever. It tends to be the way that people distract you in any given moment.
Yes. And an important word that you didn't use there is from being reactive, busy,
Mhm.
to being proactive, productive,
Mhm.
right? Because proactive and reactive implies just no thought, right? You just react to what happens. Proactive implies intention
Right.
and choices. And
Control.
I'm going to work on this thing. So what exactly do I need to do to work on this thing? Yes, control.
Yes.
Yes.
Because you are important.
Yeah. And because it's what makes you enjoy your job more. It's
Yeah.
what makes you at the end of your day say, oh my gosh, that was such a good day. I got so much done, which then makes you a little more motivated and a little more interested and a little happier and a little more satisfied. And it just brings more, and you interact with people in your personal life in a way that reflects, right? If you're coming home from work or just leaving your home office or closing your laptop for the end of the day and now giving your attention to people in your personal life, don't you think you're going to interact with them differently if you're closing your laptop or driving home from work thinking, oh my gosh, that was such a good day. I got so much done. You're going to interact with people in your personal life in a way that reflects that. And if you're leaving work thinking, oh my gosh, another day, I was busy all day and I'm exhausted and still somehow I got nothing done, you're going to interact with the people in your personal life in a way that reflects.
Maybe we need to create a war on busy.
A war on busy. I like it.
Mm.
I like it. Well, hopefully you have found some useful tidbits in this conversation. And if you have some ideas of things that you'd like for us to tackle in future episodes, please reach out through the show page, which will be available for you.
Thanks for joining us on AI for an Empowered Life. Be sure to like and subscribe if you would like to know more about attention management, Maura's groundbreaking approach to reclaiming your time, focusing your energy, and living a more empowered life. You can also visit www.maurathomas.com, where you'll find tools and resources to help you make every moment matter and achieve more of your most significant results.